So let's start off with some basic knives. So I've got some knives set up on the table. A couple of health and safety issues first of all. Whenever you carry a knife, whether it's in the kitchen or if you're walking around with a knife, always carry it facing downwards. Very important. Obviously if you're going to give a knife to somebody, you give the knife to them handle forward. Keep the blade towards you. Be careful with knives. Obviously knives are very sharp. Never run your hands down the side of the knife. Always, if you want to check for sharpness, just roughly go across the blade, and you can tell by the roughness of the blade how sharp it is. Now I've got different types of knives, all used for different types of jobs in the kitchen. This one, the first one I picked up, this is a cook's knife. This is a 10-inch cook's knife. Very good for chopping, for slicing, for dicing. Again, as we go through this course, we'll show you how to use this knife properly to make sure you don't hurt yourself when you're actually chopping or slicing or mincing, etc. Now, the make of this knife is Henkel's. There are different types. I've also got an example here of Gustav Emilion, which is a good knife. Now, when I talk about good knives, you need to have, in the construction, it needs to be a solid piece of stainless steel, or it could be carbon steel. This, as you can see, goes all the way around, right to the end, and it's riveted. It needs to have good balance when you're actually holding it. It needs to be sharp. Again, very important you always have a sharp knife. A sharp knife means that there's not too much, or you're not applying too much pressure when you're actually cutting or slicing. Therefore, it'll go straight through the item. You won't be applying undue pressure, which could result in accidents to yourself. So that's a 10-inch cook's knife. Again, as I say, I'll be using that as we go through the course. This is a Santoku knife, which I use for vegetable slicing. Probably my favourite knife. This is the one I use quite extensively. Then I've got a slicing knife. Now this is used for slicing. I mainly use this for slicing cooked meats. If I want to chop, or rather cut a big joint of meat in half, I'll normally use this large cook's knife. Then we've got two different types of knives which are almost the same shape. Now the difference between these two is that this, with the smaller, thicker blade, is a boning knife, and this with a longer, more flexible blade is a filleting knife. Again, we'll be using that to fillet fish, for example, take skin off fish. So that's a very, very good knife to have. Another handy knife to have in the kitchen is a serrated knife. Very good for slicing things like tomatoes. Although if you've got good sharp knives in amongst the veg knives, you shouldn't need to use a serrated knife, but it's always handy. These two are examples of just ordinary chef's knives, cook's knives. These are about between 5 and 6 inches long. Again, different makes. My main knives, which I've got down here, are Henkel's, which is a German company. This one is a Gustav Emilion, which I've showed you. This one is a Sabate knife. Again, good makes. Again, if you look at the construction, both very similar. You've got solid stainless steel right around and riveted right through. And it's preferable not to use wood handle knives in the kitchen because of food hygiene purposes, which I'll cover at a later stage. I've also got two examples of what we call paring knives or peeling knives. This one's my favourite. I use that quite extensively, although I could use this one as well. This gives me more control when I'm peeling things like round fruits or potatoes or apples, that sort of thing. This is a palette knife. Again, very handy in the kitchen for lifting up large fillets of fish from a pan, or for doing some cake decorating. Again, we will cover that in a later stage. This is a sharpening iron. Now this one is, I believe, has got bits of diamond on there somewhere. Come with a Henkel's knives. Now, people always ask, oh, I always see butchers, I see chefs sharpening knives very quickly using one of these. Yes, you can, after practice, use it quite quickly, but the main purpose of a steel is to keep the knife blade at a good edge, to make sure it's sharp. And you've no reason to actually sharpen a knife more than about 3 or 4 times on a steel. And the way we do that, I'll just demonstrate with my Santoku knife, is you need to get an angle on the blade, the one side, then bring it across on the other side. Again, you can speed that up. Then once you've done that, you can have a quick feel of the knife, and you'll find then the edge of it has become quite sharp. Okay, so those are the knives. I will go through how to use the knives, actually how to slice and dice, and we'll do that with different types of, as I said in the first video, we'll be covering vegetables, fruit, meats, fish, and all of the products. Right from what I think is the main part of the process, which is preparation. And you will find that preparation really is a stress reliever. Cooking is the easy part. The hard work, the time taken, is in the preparation of your food before it's actually cooked.